As no true fan needs to be told, Dune, the epic first created by author Frank Herbert in 1965, has been one of the most influential and challenging science fiction works ever, spawning multiple, much discussed film treatments. And now it adds a prequel to that long list. The new HBO series Dune Prophecy is set 10,000 years before the rise of messianic figure Paul Atreides. The story traces how two sisters form a powerful sisterhood, later known as the Bene Gesserit. They have superpowers that allow them to control their bodies on a cellular level, but they still must build political power from the shadows. Emily Watson and Olivia Williams play those sisters, and they are both with us now from New York. Hello to you both. Thank you both so much for joining us.
Hello, thank you for having us.
Good morning. Yes, such a pleasure to be here.
And I want to go, oh my goodness. I mean, I'm still kind of shaking from some of the scenes in this series. And I'm going to, because it hasn't premiered yet in the United States, I want to just ask you to start by setting the scene. When and where does Dune Prophecy begin? Who wants to start?
We are 10,000 years before Paul Atreides, so we like to call it 10,000 years BC. Before Chalamet.
Before Chalamet,
And,
okay.
yeah.
I get it. Okay.
It's after humanity has defeated AI. Basically, there was a massive war worldwide, across the universe, war between humans and machines, and humans won just. And now we're in the period of rebuilding the path forward, and we founded this sisterhood, or we're part of this sisterhood that is trying to direct humanity on the right path.
As we see it.
As we see it. But, as we know, absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yes, indeed. Right.
Olivia, maybe you want to pick this up. What? Say a bit more, if you would, about what the sisterhood is aiming to do, or what are the sisters aiming to do in forming the sisterhood?
The sisters provide a sort of individualized advisory service for emperors of the universe, and we plant one of our sisters as the advisor, the person veiled standing behind someone making sinister gestures with their hands, who are in fact controlling the narrative and the truth. And as we know from our politics in the UK, and maybe you might feel in your politics, that sometimes it's not the person at the podium, but the shady characters to one side that you need to keep an eye on.
So, Olivia, what you're referring to is that the members of the sisterhood, as it develops, wear a very distinctive uniform. It's a very distinctive uniform. It's all black. They're veiled. They communicate, I think I would almost say, like telepathically with each other. How would you describe the role that they think they're playing in the broader society? Like, how do they see themselves? I mean, how do they see themselves versus how we think? Do you understand? Right? How do they see themselves versus how we come to see them? If I could ask it that way.
They think they are directing humanity on the right path, and they're using many means to do this. We kind of have superpowers in this, which are all powers of the mind. We can tell if someone is telling the truth or not. That is our sort of main function, and that's how we offer our services to the great and the good. But we are also able to control our bodies on a molecular level, so that we can go into our past, we can communicate with our ancestors. But truth is like a currency, and he who controls that narrative controls the power in the universe, and it's ultimately all down to what the Dune equivalent of oil is spice, and he who controls the spice controls the universe.
Now, Emily, I just want to say that your character Valia has a very particular way that she wants to shape the sisterhood, and this has led to some strife. So without giving it all away, because how can I put this? Because it leads to like the first kind of shocking moment in the series. For me, at least, it was a shocking moment.
Yes.
So can you just describe a little bit, without giving it all away, what is it? What's her vision?
If you cultivate the right kind of people, and it's about bringing families together it's kind of, we're in the very dodgy territory of eugenics, really. but about sort of trying to set a path through history of making, breeding, really.
Alliances and who will make the greatest leader with the alliance of various features that each bloodline brings together. And, the sisters are arch eugenicists in some ways, but there's also a fascinating control of fear that the sisters have been up till this point able to control fear. And there is a new element they're facing where they cannot control fear, which is a huge threat to their power.
It's an unknown adversary that they don't know how to identify that is bringing fear into their lives.
Of course, I'm going to ask what attracted you to these roles, which are so complicated.
Well, absolutely that complexity. I mean, it's a really tasty dish for an actor to get your head into that space where you are an absolutely central protagonist in this world that has no real good or bad. Everything is relative. Olivia and I, when we first got the job, we went together to the National Portrait Gallery in London. We'd known each other for a long time. We went to the National Portrait Gallery in London and we sat in front of portraits of Elizabeth I and Mary Queen of Scots and tried to get a sense of what that deeply powerful, paranoid, complex, born out of violence. Elizabeth I's mother was beheaded when she was 2, and the living in that world where everything kind of people either wanted to marry you or kill you, or eat you or destroy you, or both. It's
and they were often related to you, which is the other thing.
Exactly, they're related to each other, and. So that, Olivia, what about you? What about your character? What is it that attracted you to her?
Well, I have to say what attracted me to this project was Emily Watson, because she'd already been involved with the project for a while when I came on board, and we've known each other. We first met sitting on a swathe of grass outside a pub called the Dirty Duck in Stratford-on-Avon when we were at the Royal Shakespeare Company together. But we'd never worked together, and bizarrely, our lives had taken us from Stratford-on-Avon to the bar of the Four Seasons in Los Angeles in the late 90s. And then here we are in New York. I mean, what a great journey. But we'd never acted together. And this was just such a pleasure to get
really
the chance to be
treat.
sisters.
Yeah.
And explore that. And having thought that we were the same in so many ways, to actually act together. And we're very different as actors, but the bringing together of this life experience, it was poetry, wasn't it, in terms of playing sisters who are related but different.
Yeah, and the really, getting our teeth into such a messed up family. They are so messed up, and all the stuff that's happened in their past, in their childhood, has just been so traumatic. And the sense of that family dynamic, whether you're in the Duneverse or in Shakespeare or in a kitchen sink, it's that is a very powerful thing to play.
And the thing I think we both have to do at this point is shout out to the actresses who played our younger selves.
Absolutely.
And as a control freak, handing over such a juicy part of the plot to another actress was really hard.
But they are both amazing.
They're amazing and nailed it and managed to kind of, because we'd shot some of our stuff first, so I think they looked at what we'd shot and took some of our mannerisms and our ways and made them their own and literally fed into the complexity of what we got to do in subsequent episodes. It was really extraordinary experience in terms of sort of power sharing between the actresses.
Yeah.
This story centers on women and the choices that they make and how they think about power and how they want to wield power. It's such an interesting reflection on that, because I think at points in our history we have liked to say that women should have power because they're better than men. I mean, this was one of the arguments in the United States for extending the franchise to women, right? The argument is, well, women are more moral, they should have access to the vote to because they're better than men and they're going to improve our politics. And of course, other people would say, well, that's ridiculous. They should have the ballot because they are
You only
humans.
need to look at UK politics to see that
well,
women don't necessarily
okay,
make the best politicians.
Well, no comment on that. No comment there. But
yeah.
I did want to ask you all your thoughts about that, how you thought about what it says about women and power. Olivia, you want to pick it up there?
I think from a TV watching perspective, from our careers as actresses, when we sat outside the Dirty Duck on a swathe of grass all those years ago, drama schools took 10 men to 2 to 3 women in every year to reflect the proportion of casting once you went out into the business. And just on the sheer numbers, how astonishing to have 2, forgive me, Emily, if you object to this term, middle-aged women playing the leads and getting the good lines and the great costumes and the storylines in a major HBO Max TV show. In terms of who I genuinely think makes a better leader, I just want someone who is educated and in politics and has a history of service to serve their country. And
principled.
We are not nailing up the Harkonnen sisters as great leaders.
No.
This is a story and it's a fantasy, and their motives are appallingly set in the world of eugenics, which was dreadful when it was dabbled with in the 1930s in a lot of scientific communities throughout the world, and I don't look forward to it coming back again into fashion in 10,000 years' time. But it's an interesting study that over the many, many centuries we're talking, that is still the preoccupation of people. Really? It's depressing, but I think it's probably true.
Emily, what do you think?
Absolutely. Olivia and I have really seen the benefit of a sea change in terms of casting, because I guess if we'd had a conversation like 15, 20 years ago, we'd have agreed that we were in a business of diminishing returns. But here we are, not a potato peeler in sight. But yes, I don't think these women can be held up in any way as feminist icons of female leadership. But they're just really rocking great parts
to play. And playing, that is the word. People forget acting is called playing, and we are having fun in the sandpit.
And also, when you get to our age, you're at the height of your powers and you have a lot of tools available to you. So to have a go at something that's really complicated is just proper fun. It really is.
Yeah, again, talking about the law of diminishing returns, for women acting, you were doing your greatest roles, the best parts, you were playing them when you were in your early 20s. And it's like, we have so much. And I'm only realising now as I walk on set, that how much I know, because I've been doing this for 30 years.
And also you just lived a life,
Yeah.
That's in your face. That's for free before you've even rolled a camera.
Yeah.
The experience of a lifetime is right there.
Well, you both have had meaty roles, and you both have had the opportunity to play people that other people have opinions about. I mean, Olivia, obviously I'm thinking about your work in The Crown, playing Camilla Parker Bowles, and and of course, Emily, you had such a rich career playing such a wide variety of characters, but I do wonder, forgive me if you think this is a stupid question, is there anything that makes you sad about the fact that these characters are so morally ambiguous, or so, because on the one hand, I'm told, look, I'm not an actor, but I'm told that playing villains is more fun than playing the hero. But
absolutely.
But
playing good people's a nightmare.
but have there been that many women heroes? So that's why I wonder, is there anything sad about it in a way? That, I mean, on the one hand, it's absolutely morally complex. It's very much worth thinking about the issues that are put forward here. But is there anything sad about it? It's not, as you were just saying, it's not like there have been that many women heroes. Yes.
I'll tell you what I think is sad, is that these women were created by a man in the 60s, and the things that make them frightening to men are the same old stuff. They're women, in order to be scary, are in a convent. They seem to be in some way chaste. They seem to be, it's like, what are women getting up to when men aren't there? And what
How about that?
Is interesting to me is seeing women who are well and healthily integrated into society and can still be wise and powerful. That would be an interesting project for me.
How about that? Yeah, how about that? If they're, even as schoolgirls, their uniforms are very chaste. They're like, kind of
we're in long dresses
dresses.
Sort of,
some nice
Barbie
cotton knit,
figured.
but still a little form-fitting. But
No,
still.
I listen, loving those costumes, by the way, I think that is part of the sisterhood, is that they have to maintain this mystery that freaks men out, because when you look at the Council of the Imperium, it's still a bunch of blokes. And if we need to be isolated in a convent-style enclave in order to make men fear us, then that's what we'll do as Harkonnen sisters.
That is Emily Watson and Olivia Williams speaking with us from New York. They play two Harkonnen sisters in HBO's new show, Dune Prophecy. It premieres on Max this Sunday. Emily Watson, Olivia Williams, thank you so much for speaking with us.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for having us.